So welcome everybody to another episode of The Discarded Compass. And look, I'm just going to get straight into this because this guy's really energetic and he's got a great message too. And I've known him for a while, and he's going to tell us all about what happened, what it's like, and I'm sure we'll talk about other stuff. Benjamin Smythe, Jack Saturday, how are you?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. It's great. It's great to talk with you and great to be here, alive and well.
Yeah, I love that we get to. I love the technology that you get to sit where you are comfortable in your world, and I get to sit where I am comfortable in mine, and we get to do this. So it's really a great time.
Yeah, technology is great. I mean, I got the fire on. I got an open fire, and it's like,
Oh yeah,
it's like great. It's cozy.
oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So Ben, I don't know too much of your backstory about where you were in life, what kind of happened, what route you took, but I knew you kind of exploded on Facebook years ago, and you left the scene, and you're kind of back on the scene now. You could call it the scene, but there's no other thing we can call it. But what you were into Buddhism at one stage, was that right?
Yeah, well, in 1995, I found Zazen, so sitting and staring at the wall, and then that became a part of my world until 2 hours ago. I mean, I sit every day. I'm one of those. I love sitting still, so I practice in that way, and it didn't help me with anything, but it's kind of the beginning of being right here, which was always the case. So now we get into the kind of paradox of I was always here, I just didn't know it. I thought I was somewhere else. I thought I was really in the story of my life as told to me by my society and by myself. And then I just, no, that's not true. But it fell apart in a kind of chaotic way, and I thought I could share about it, and I did, and then I became unreliable to myself. I have bipolar 1, I take an antipsychotic, I have a psychiatrist, and I ended up homeless. I ended up needing help from my family, and my family has been beautifully helping me, and I've been helping them, cooking and cleaning and caring for things, and it's a beautiful mutual exploration of who we all are right now. I've never hung out with my father or mother at this age, and so I get to be of service to them. And I don't have kids. I don't want a family. I don't have a complicated life in a certain way. So it's a beautiful opportunity to just be here with them and stay stable myself. I go to 2 support groups a week, and I love that because we just sit and do this, just sort of talk about our experience and hear about each other's experience. And it's really awesome. But the unreliability to myself made it so that I couldn't be talking to people about how it is, because I don't know how it is. And I thought I knew something about consciousness, but I don't know that either. And so now it's been interesting. I've had 3 interviews or 3 invitations to do podcasts all in the last 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, okay, I'll do it and we'll see what happens. But I don't know what anyone could get from it. I assume nothing in a certain way, but I assume maybe for someone else, they're like, oh, maybe I'm not the only one who struggles in this way or has had these experiences or whatever. So I'm used to being a resource in a certain way. So I'm happy to be that for whoever is listening. I can't help with any big reality pictures, but I can be somebody to talk with.
There's a lot in what you're saying there. I mean, there's a lot in what you said, but what happens in communication? What happened in communication with you prior to the awakening or the search? And what's communication like now?
Well, there was no communication prior to the experience for me of disappearing and never coming back. There was no communication. There was just sitting zazen and doing yoga, and I was a teacher and a cook, so I went back and forth between these 2 career professions. But there was no awakening as far as I can understand it now. There was just a guy who was busy doing his thing and feeling really separate. I mean, in the end, it's the separate feeling that kind of defines it. And then I had a moment that, wasn't personal. I didn't orchestrate. Nothing could have brought it about. And this can't be it became this is it. And it's been that way ever since. That was 2008. but there's
What?
no quantity to it. There's no time to it. So this is a
Yeah.
both what this is a way to say it, and also it's not actually true.
So it's a bit like people say everything I say is a lie. You know, it's a bit like that.
Well, yeah, or everything I say is the truth for a liar.
Love it the way you turn around. The poet again.
Yeah, well, that's all we could do, right? Because we're just playing English language games now. I mean, we're just talking English, and this is not an English universe, so we're just playing. And I hope we can play. I'm excited to just be sitting here with you anyway.
It's not an English universe. Like
No,
that is like there's a lot in that because
yeah,
make it to be labeled with English words, German words, you know.
sure. What is it? What
What
is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Right.
yeah, I remember Charlie Hayes said about it was snowing one day, poor old Charlie, God rest him. And he
Hmm.
was looking out the window when it was snowing and he said, "It's snowing. What's the it?" And it was quite
Mhm.
profound.
Yeah. The word is not the thing. So I just get to do poetry. I never leave poetry because the word is not the thing.
The word is not the thing. And we
Right.
try
Like I'm not a sound. Like I'm not a Benjamin. I'm not a sound. We know we were named by our parents. And they named exactly what came out, unyet defined.
stamped.
Yeah, we find a language after we're born. So that's why it's not an English universe, because we were first. I found the language after I was born.
When we were programmed with the language, were we?
No, I found it.
Really? Do
I
you think we
found
found
it. I found it. I found it.
it?
Nothing programmed me. I found it alive and moving all over the place, but not everywhere. So that's the beauty. It's like, oh, there's 6,500 languages, 46 alphabets, and I know one of one. So that's my intelligence. It's almost zero.
Could you describe what happened for you that changed everything?
No, I can tell you the story, and then we can come to the same point, which I can't move away from, which is, uh, I was really depressed, no longer wanting to exist, and I kind of had a plan to stop existing. And then 3 days before the plan, in my head anyway, I went out under the stars and I whispered, God, and nothing happened, but something happened, and I can't determine if I got an answer or no answer because the silence is bigger than my ability to define it. So I just got silence, but it washed out all the sadness to a degree that I was feeling at the time. And the whole sense that this can't be it just disappeared, and this is it. And then I was able to talk because I realized, well, at that time I thought I could be helpful. So I made videos. I was like, I know. Hey, I know. And then that's the me that knows ends up running around and causing a lot of havoc. And then over time, it's like, well, I don't know. It just happened. And it didn't happen because it's past and there are no past nouns. So the structure of the language ends up being where this all happens. And it's not anywhere at all on the planet.
Yeah, because the mind works and it's historic, isn't it? It's built in a historic kind of a volume, isn't it? And it labels things historically and, you know,
Well, there's something beautiful that we both know that we don't remember this, and so does the listener.
yeah, well, there's a lot that's not known. I've no idea about all this.
Yeah, but we don't remember this. Like that the physical
Oh, yeah.
nature of our somatic life is not
Yeah.
in our memories. That
No,
feels really awesome. That just all I have to do is trade places with the historical self and I'm sitting here at the edge of the boat.
absolutely. Well, that's a great place for anyone to start, isn't it, Ben?
Well, no, it's the end too.
What you end. Yeah, I was just, as soon as I
Yeah.
said it, I went, what am I saying?
Yeah. But that's okay. You can start here and you start at the finish line.
Finished too, but what does that mean? So there's no start and finish to anything.
You can always speak both ways, right? So it's a both and. So both relatively, yes, of course. In a race at the Olympics right now, there's a starting point and there's an end, and you get a gold medal based upon time or speed, etc. So yes, of course, and absolutely, no one's going to remember that.
Well, it's a bit like if you're editing a video 1 second where the gun goes off in the Olympics and the gun goes off and everybody
Yeah.
starts, right? People would think it's a second. But if you open that up on a video editor, it's like 10,000 miles long.
Right.
Where is the start? There's
Well,
no
it isn't.
start to that moment, is there?
It
That's what,
isn't.
yeah.
There isn't one because you'd have to be able to define the event, and there's nothing separate from eventing that can define event.
Inging, yeah, event. Everything
Yeah.
kind of, I think you said that before. It was like we're verbs. I think it was
Well,
you.
there's one verb.
Yeah. Okay. One verb.
One verb. So
Yeah.
right here, you could define what's going on just somatically, talking, sitting, right? There's one verb, but it's definable in many different facets. But it's not like it's a different motion.
Yeah, but how does it get interpreted then through our senses or through the mind? Which comes first, the feeling, the thoughts, or what begins this interpretation?
Well, that's an assumption of interpretation, so we have to go slower. Am I interpreting right now, or am I just seeing what I'm seeing? Is there a second layer, or is there just this layer? I think there's just this layer, but I wouldn't be able to show it to you, like I can't see what you're looking at. There's a point where the conversation breaks down somatically because I'm not you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Like there's a limit to I can't fart for you, blink for you, breathe for you. You don't see exactly what I'm seeing right now. Like I have a word written right above my camera on my computer. What is it from your point of view? You can't see it, right?
No, I've no idea.
Right, exactly. So we're actually separate as nervous systems. Informationally, like current consciousness is two. There's two of them. There's one there and one here, and they're having separate experiences.
But for the individual, how does that interpretation of events happen? How are you interpreting it there?
Well, with the language, as best as the language can do, I describe the world to myself, both
So,
past, present, and future.
so prior to language, is there a
Prior to language, there's just this. But we have to stop talking. Hold on, watch. There's just this. And it doesn't have anything to do with vision.
yeah.
So the colors end up being an arbitrary feature of how the photons are interacting with the apparent surfaces, such that light is a mirage. You're not seeing me, you're seeing what light is capable of doing on your retina. That's amazing. Oh my God, it's so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm not in your mind and I'm not out here.
And the thing about it is we think we're in control, don't we? Uh,
Well, I think we are and we're not. It's both.
is it both?
Yeah, watch. Right? Like I'm not catatonic, I'm not paralyzed, and I'm not unconscious. So if I need to take a drink of water, but can I choose anything that's happening at present, or am I part of the flow of the universe? Probably the second thing.
But there's some experiment some guy done where some scientists he did an experiment about free will and thoughts, and it came out in the experiment that that they actually found out that he made the decision right 6 seconds before he actually thought he made it.
Relative to the measuring device.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a secondary feature. Relative to yourself, you don't know that.
Well, relative to him, I mean, his mind.
No,
His
you're
mind.
saying the machine read that he made the decision 6 seconds prior,
Well, the
right?
machine we think is accurate. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, right. But see, now here's okay. So here's the machine. Here's me making a choice. Here's the machine telling me that it's 6 seconds later. And who's this guy that knows all this?
yeah. Who's the guy? Yeah, the observer and the observer.
Right. We don't know the answer to that. We don't know who's watching the experiment or watching the watcher or witnessing the witness. We just don't know that because it doesn't really register.
Yeah, like there's knowing, but there's no knower. You know that way.
Well, this becomes tricky. This becomes really interesting. There's a place where you can say there's no knowing,
Yeah.
and there's a place where it's like, eh, and then you know what you know based upon, like you said, historical memory.
Well, there's the presence then. That life force, the presence. There's just presence. Yeah. I mean, it can't be turned off or turned on.
Right. There's no on or off switch.
Yeah, and we think there, it's quite profound, really. Maybe, well, is it profound? I don't know, not really.
Yeah, nice. Good.
No, it isn't. It's
It
just,
might be completely unimpressive, a universe in the middle of nowhere.
yeah, unimpressive, like deep sleep, and we love it. Yeah.
Uh, right. Well, deep sleep's wonderful.
Yeah, I love deep sleep.
Yeah, deep sleep's a state of liberation,
Yeah.
like flight, like skateboarding, surfing, bicycling, flying, like any kind of flight is liberation too.
Yeah, extreme sports
You're
and
suspended in the middle between crashing and not crashing.
do you think so? Between the
I
middle.
think so. I think in flight, you're in an incredible state. It's really amazing. Skydivers probably can talk about it more than anybody else.
Yeah,
But
stomach.
probably surfers or, anybody who's flying and just there's just a sense of like lateral acceleration over gravity.
And some people go to extreme measures to kind of reach that place or to drop into that place or to fall back in that place, whatever way we want it. I can't term it too well.
Right.
And
I
I
hope
think
so.
Ayrton Senna did a lap in Monaco where he reckoned and it was an amazing lap. He was an amazing racing car driver, but he said I was one with the car, you know, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was driving by itself. He reckoned
Mm.
it's quite something. I
Y-
suppose it's quite something because he was a famous motor racer, but
mm.
it could be quite something as well if you're digging the garden and it happens to you, you know.
Sure. Taking out the trash, doing the dishes. Even sitting here, like I listened to a psychiatrist, and I think they've found recently that movement itself creates dopamine. So you think of all the people getting dopamine hits on the phone, and if they just start dancing while they're doing it, they double the batch. That's awesome. It's fun to find that we can make ourselves feel better in the middle of this nightmare.
Do you think it's nightmare life? You mean?
Yeah.
Is it hell? Is this hell?
Yeah. Yeah, this is death's life.
Sorry, I missed that.
This is death's life. There's only one death. This happens to belong to it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard that
Yeah.
before. We got it the wrong way around.
Yeah. We think this is life's death. No, no,
Yeah,
this is death's life.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And that's beautiful because then you don't have to do anything. You don't even have to know how to die. Like that's where knowing kind of falls apart in the nature of nature. Because I don't have to know how to do this. To just be something within the sphere of it was once, maybe.
You 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 can poetically describe things fairly well. I mean,
Mm.
you got this colorful speech, this colorful way of portraying things. Were you always like that? Were you always good with words, or
I've been writing since a young person. I found Harriet the Spy, which is a book about a girl who keeps a diary of all the nasty things her friends are doing, and so I started doing that in 5th grade, and that taught me that writing is a world. That, like you can be in your own world with writing. So language then kind of became a fascination after that, and I'm an amateur everything. I'm like a D+ human being. Like I barely know what I love, and so it's um it's just the constant tinkering that is the fun part. Like if I do something well, I'm just lucky. But if I do something poorly, that's the average. And that's okay. That's kind of like how it really is, I think.
when you mentioned service? I mean, it's coming into
Mm.
my mind because you know a lot of people suffer in this world. As you say, it's hell, right? And
Yeah.
people suffer. I mean, nobody wants to suffer. I mean, we don't sign up for suffering, do we? I mean, crikey.
Well, we
Um,
don't sign up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but it happened. It's there. You know, we got COVID, all that stuff. But you mentioned service. I mean, things have changed for you now. You're kind of back in the scene, if you don't mind me saying. But you were always kind of heavily into service, and you used to hold the sign in different countries, and you know, you're perfect and stuff.
Yeah.
But service seems to be a way of kind of preempting awakening. It's like taking something to draw us into line to the natural flow of life or something, that there's something in it that kind of the ego kind of adjusts around. Is it good for a person that's heavily afflicted or suffering, do you think, to be of service?
Yeah. I think I'm not so interesting as the ability to make someone else suffer less. Like me on top of a mountain by myself in happiness is not as interesting as me with someone else who's sharing the happiness.
Hmm.
And in that way, the spiritual search, the only thing to find is each other. In our little temporary window of passing through the universe, like the only thing to actually find is the sweet fragility and anti-fragility of us. So I think there's something that Wittgenstein said beautifully: if you want to know God, you finally die in service. I'm not there. I'm not dead in service or anything, but I like that idea. Like that's how you know God, is you get outside yourself as a physical creature. Not just I survive, which I have to work on in order to be, you put your air mask on first, don't drown while you're trying to save somebody. But once you have your strokes and you're here, well, then whatever little comfort you can provide, that can't be a bad thing in this nightmare.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be a bad thing because there's nowhere to get to. You're never holding somebody back by being good.
And we're trying to be the best individually, yet we're connected, you know?
Right. Well, that's capitalism. Because we don't share as well as we could, we have to compete with each other for what we all have extra of.
Hmm.
So it's a sadness on our part.
And you'd be against capitalism.
No, 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 no. I'm just saying I think we're trained to think that we must trade for everything instead of give
Oh, well,
also.
the world runs on capitalism.
Yeah, but that's okay. I mean, that's part of the chaos and the nightmare version of it.
Is there any way we can sort of change the hell we're in?
No,
No.
no,
People
because
try.
7.9 billion people, we're going around in circles, right? We're on something that's spinning, right? I see the sun. You
Yeah.
don't see the sun.
No.
Okay. Okay. So we're on something that's spinning and we're trying to control where no one who was made on purpose ends up. And we all end up in the same spot. So there's two things that happen. One, we try to make this a special to our experience, which
Mm.
in one way it totally could be, because we're the only one we are. Back to you don't see what I'm looking at. So I can't breathe for you, etc. And in another way, it's too big of a momentum for any one individual to touch. It's like trying to hold back the ocean, trying to hold back the momentum of human brains.
So are people trying to find freedom in deathly things?
They could, because you can find the edge of dying. You can find like the car driver you were talking about, or just anyone who's moving at a high speed, or you can find the edge of this isn't safe for the body, and then that turns the whole system on because the body doesn't want to die.
Well, if this is life's death, I mean, we're in this hell. You
Right.
know, so like we're all
Right.
people are searching for happiness and solace and contentment, and to arrive. I'm just finding this so funny as I'm talking about it.
They don't arrive. No one's ever found what you just said. Everyone's a bush. Oh, oh dude. I love you. No one's ever arrived at whatever that idea was.
It's quite something when it's realized, because you don't tell anybody, do you? It's like you kind of, for me, it was like, okay, oh yeah, I'm never gonna write. Okay, I'm gonna be quiet about this one.
Well, the joke is I keep trying to find something to remember, and the thing I don't remember is exactly what's happening.
Yeah, I
Like
like.
I don't have to remember
Yeah,
anything
I like
because the
that.
body is where.
Yeah, and the not remembering is happening right now as well. Even saying I don't remember is happening now. I mean, there's no way out of it, is there? You can't get into it either, can you? Because
Well,
you're
I don't know what the it is.
yeah, it's yeah.
Yeah, in that sentence, I don't know what the it is.
What's it like?
I can't jump to the moon, so there is a physical limit.
Do you? I saw an interview where you kind of went spontaneously into samadhi. What's that like?
Whoa, what interview was that?
Oh, it was some clip I have in my head. I think it was an interview of there was a girl with a video camera, and you were somewhere, and you just
Huh. I don't know that one.
But
Samadhi's not any different. Samadhi's not any different than if we just stop being English or Irish, or samadhi's not any different than.
I'm Irish, Ben. I can't do that.
I don't mean it that way. I swear. I just mean if we stop being where we think we come from, then we're sitting in samadhi.
But is it bliss and
No, no. It's it goes it's
ah.
I know, right?
I met you at a satsang in Ireland. I think it must have been around 2008, and it was interesting because you came all the way from America land, yeah, and to do the
I
sat.
never moved.
Well,
Okay, sorry. Yes, you're right.
But you got to go along with it because
I do. You're right. I have to play along. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you. No, you're absolutely right. It's a kind of a game of playing along.
Yeah, I mean,
So
God,
so we were in Ireland.
yeah, and we had the satsang. You came all the way forward from the States. Some girl brought you over, invited
Yeah,
you over.
Beth.
Yeah, what's her name?
Her name was Beth.
Beth. Okay, and you sat there in the middle of the room, and you didn't say anything, and then it
Yeah.
was over. And like that's one of the satsangs that I remember,
Yeah.
And well, there was much said, a couple of sentences, but I just shared some. And but you were kind of cooking then, weren't you? You were kind
Well, I
of
don't know what that means.
kind of immersed in a new sort of awakening.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a process, I guess, but there's not, and you go through stuff, and the just don't catalog it or archive it, or like, I can't give any advice because I can't even know where anybody is in the appearance of time and space. I don't know where we are. It's chronos, cosmos, and chaos, right? So I don't know where we are.
I remember Suzanne Segal. I read her book Collision with the Infinite, and she had an awakening, and really she was in turmoil for 10 years odd, and she got help for it, and it didn't work, and so that happened to her, and then she went teaching, but at the end of it, she just wanted to sit in the audience with the
Yeah.
others.
Yeah.
You reminded me of that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I don't see what you're looking at, I don't have access to reality from your perspective. So there's no way I could teach reality because I'm already absent of it.
Of my reality, you mean?
Yeah. I'm absent of your immediate, absolutely private phenomenological experience. That is not something that's happening for me. So I have my own version of that. So there's no teacher of reality just for this simple kind of headless way, like reason. Like my view is not your view, is not your view, is not your view.
So it's like everything turns around back again and falls into the place it was. It's like the Buddha got up from the tree and just walked off.
Yeah.
And said nothing.
Yeah. Well, tapped out. I mean, there's that famous moment where he taps out.
Go on, tell me. I didn't know he tapped out.
Yeah. Yeah, he taps out. He's sitting there and he's just doing the fight with the Maya, and there's all the dancers and then the soldiers and the army and the fear and everything. And he just finally just touches the ground like, I'm out.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm done.
You had a tough time. You hit the streets. You're homeless and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Were you? Did you fall into addiction and was
Yep.
that was tough going? This is after an awakening. I mean, you're very honest, Ben. I got to say, I know relatively, but I just thought, you're really honest of where you were and where you
Yeah.
are.
Well, it really happened. I mean, in a degree, in a really, unexpected and surprising way. It all really happened. But it's also choices. I'm not going to deny my responsibility. I made choices. I drank, I smoked, I did different drugs, and I was just like going into the chaotic spaces that were available to me, not on medication. I've had bipolar my whole life, but I was trying to deal with it by myself. and that didn't work. So now there's a whole like I'm in a like a roller coaster, right? And once you go around a few times, you get used to where you are on the roller coaster, and pretty soon it's a part of who you are. So I'm inside of a schedule like that, a routine like that, support groups and doctor and my family, and you know,
Like
I,
12-step
yeah.
program
Say again.
12-step program.
Well, one more time.
Would it be a 12-step program?
No,
No.
no, because I don't. I'm. It's hard for me with the higher power stuff.
Really?
Yeah, because there's no higher power.
Yeah, but like Ben, hold on. Like, hold on. Whoa, 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 whoa.
No, no, I know. Go ahead. But this is the
You know, I like paradoxical stuff. But
sure.
you know, one minute you're having a tough time. You're addicted to drugs and alcohol, and you're on a roller coaster. It's heaven is turned into hell. um,
Well, no, there's partying in heaven.
well, you know, eventually it turns on,
Yes,
doesn't it?
yes, yes. I know. I'm just trying to be happy.
And then, oh God, yeah, go on. So, you know, there's turmoil, there's mental turmoil. And I think in the 12-step program, you're supposed to look for a higher power greater than yourself.
Right,
So where does that leave you then?
right. That's a great question. I don't have the answer.
Do you still need help?
I take the medication and I go to the groups. Yeah, and I'm paying attention to myself. And do I still need help? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I don't know what I'll do if I. Yeah, I just don't know what I'll do. That's what I mean. Like I became unreliable to myself. See, the non-duality crowd's interesting because they want to say no one's there, right? The
Yeah,
idea, the message is no one's here,
you
but
know.
they're not catatonic, they're not paralyzed, and they're not unconscious, and they're not in psychosis. So once you experience any of these states, oh, come on now, somebody's here, somebody's here.
Yeah.
There are states of human experience or not where you're really not there and you're really like in dire straits. So
But they'd be probably saying you are there because you're going through all those states, or someone would say maybe.
sure, sure.
So
I
they,
mean, this comes back to the event. Like, if there's an event, who's outside the event determining the event?
yeah,
It
yeah.
includes our stories, it includes everything that we could call a noun. So, from the verb, if you see nouns, just remember you're not one.
So it's an interesting place you're in, to be honest. There's something interesting about it. It's like because a lot of people suffer, Ben. You know that. I have, you have,
Yes.
and this would be wonderful for someone hearing this to say, "Yeah, I'm bipolar. My head's cooked, and you know, I had a spiritual awakening. I can't tell no one, you know, because I'm not awake because I don't behave like an awakened person."
But that's an assumption that you have to be happy or that awakening equals an emotion. That assumption is false.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Why is
Yeah.
that? What, you know?
Because you're putting a limit on the idea of unhindered potential, might be a way to say it. Right? This is just potential
It's
for it.
the law of potentiality. I kind of, yeah, I'm into
Yeah.
the thing about that. Yeah,
Just this is potential and it's unhindered by anything and it can do anything it wants to. And all the emotions are happening while you and I are sitting here. We know that a good percentage of the world is asleep and therefore dreaming shit we can't see. There's another percentage that is wide awake, doing stuff they like, doing stuff they don't like, happy, sad, angry, the whole thing at once. So if you can get over to the moon and watch the planet that we're on, then you get a better sense of kind of what it means to see it from a non-dual perspective, because you stop going, well, this one here is happy, so that's it. It's like, no, that's happiness with inside of this one over here who's sad, which is inside of this one over here who's angry. So all emotions are happening simultaneously, like all heartbeats are happening simultaneously.
so that goes back to the non-duality prize or goal. You know,
No,
that's you. It's like, yeah, people are looking for not to be there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
like,
there's nobody to begin with. This is the hardest thing for the seeker really thinks they're there.
yeah,
And they think if they find what they're looking for, then they disappear even. I mean, that's the weirdest one.
yeah, and as soon as you go looking for it, you've established a person.
Well,
Yeah,
where are you looking from? I mean, the looking is already the case. And then there's this idea this can't be it. And what's beautiful is the same this can't be it is the answer. This is it.
yeah,
The
yeah,
same this.
yeah.
Oh, everyone's looking right at it then. And then nobody's looking right at it.
Yeah, can we hold that one, because that is, I think, the crux of the problem, or how do you know when you've dropped it? Or
No, that never happens.
yeah,
No, that never happens. The whole idea when someone says I dropped away or whatever it is, that never happens.
but it happened for you.
No, that's the whole point. Oh, this is awesome. No, nothing happens for anybody. It's all just the same happening. It's just like you said about the tree. The tree doesn't make itself grow. It's part of the whole thing. It's growing. So the whole thing is whole thinging. This is the whole thing doing a podcast. It's not happened for me separate. No, that's impossible. I'm just the place from which this story emerges.
Yeah, but that's kind of intuitively known there by you.
Well, yeah, there's a memory of a series of events, none of which are central or standard or verifiable technically. Where to go?
So nothing. Yeah. When you're talking, the word freedom comes up, in my mind.
Sure.
Um, and people would say we're looking for freedom in everything. I want lots of money so I can be free. I want to be free from this person, so I'd be happier with another person. I'll have more freedom there. I move to a different country, I'll be free. If I drink, I'll be free. If I don't drink, I'll be free. If I take drugs, I'll be free. If I don't take drugs, I'll be free. There's an ideal of freedom. I wonder, do we really want freedom if we knew what it was?
No. Why would you want everyone you know and love to be dead?
Yeah. But that's selfish way of looking at stuff.
Oh yeah, well, if you knew what enlightenment was, like you'd really think twice because you never see anybody ever again.
Yeah.
You know?
And if you ever get a glimpse, you know,
Take a picture of it.
well, it's a bit like, oh no, I'm not going there. I don't want it. No, thank you. It's okay.
Yeah.
It was wrong.
I'll say this, everyone listening, yourself included, myself included, we're all brave enough to handle the nightmare. That's what a sense of humor is. That's what imagination is. That's what skin is, even though it's part of the nightmare. We're all brave enough and capable enough to handle the nightmare
Yeah.
because we're a part of it. We're monsters pretending not to be monsters. Just like we're fairies and sprites and angels and knights and kings and queens and demons and angels, we're all those things just hiding from itself because you don't know what you'll do. I don't know what I'll do. You're talking to someone who has a chemical leash. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm not idealizing it. I'm not romanticizing it, but I'm just remember that there's a whole chemical reality to my experience that
Yeah.
keeps me from engaging in ways that are unhelpful and inappropriate and chaotic to the degree that I don't take care of myself.
So is there a place in the search for enlightenment for, yeah, psychotherapy, psychiatrist? There is, isn't there?
No,
No?
I don't think so. Because enlightenment isn't a real thing.
Well,
You would need a therapist if you believed in enlightenment. You need a therapist.
I know, but people are like Suzanne Segal looked for a psychiatrist after her awakening.
Sure. Well, yeah. But I think we use these terms kind of like we know what we mean, awakening and enlightenment and all that. But
Well,
I
it,
don't think we know what we mean. And
I
then that way it's a setup.
I suppose, yeah, I'm trying to be the devil's advocate. I'm trying to talk from a perspective of what the audience would be thinking.
Right.
Um,
But now let's imagine they're hungry.
hungry for
Yeah.
for
Here, wait. Well, I have a dice with letters on it. We're gonna roll for what they're hungry for. Okay, it begins with A.
A. What's your A?
They want avocado toast.
Okay.
Do you want avocado toast, listener?
Do you know? I'm kind of feeling hungry now, actually, Ben. Yeah, yeah.
It works.
You live a simple life, right?
Yeah, my life it's not you can't really replicate it. Because I don't have anything. I mean, I don't have a car, I don't have pets, plants, a phone. I don't have
Relationships, nothing like that. You don't want to get married, and
Oh no, 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 no.
conventional wisdom is not wise.
Well, it goes back to like if I'm naturally a pessimist, I'm not gonna pretend. I mean, I imagine I could be with somebody who was a pessimist,
Yeah.
right?
So
Like that you could both just be like, cool, this is the nicest way to spend the nightmare together.
yeah,
But yeah, but that's not it's hard to find someone who also doesn't want children and is attractive and is intelligent. I mean, they're very difficult things to find for someone like me that has nothing to offer.
I think you're being
Well,
hard.
I'm not looking. I'm not looking. I'm not
I
looking.
think you're being hard on yourself. There's always someone,
No, 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 no.
you know, like
You've never dated me.
so.
uh,
Yeah, I kind of the same route. It's like, yeah, I'm not going to settle. You know, yeah. I mean, it's not like you become a doormat because you become some sort of way awake or something.
no, I really think you just start doing what you really want to do, and you just don't get to know what that is,
Yeah, same.
right? Like
Yeah,
the things that make us happy, we just let ourselves do those things.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
I had a gift. I saw Francis.
handbrake's off. Yeah, the
Say again.
handbrake is off. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, it's also just like you're 11 years old again.
yeah,
You don't doubt yourself. You're not yet puberty driven by madness, and you're totally into what you love. Like that's it. That's the freedom.
yeah.
And then everybody's just peacefully waiting to go. Okay, well, I'm the one that's going to go do what I want. And then the ones who go do that, they're the ones who are leading a life where they're doing that. And the ones who are waiting to do that are just waiting. No one's coming to give them permission or anything.
Yeah, no one's coming to save you.
No, and no one authorized reality.
Yeah. There's nobody coming to save. That's like, whoa, that's massive.
We'll save you from what? Hold on, save you from what?
And that's the good news.
Yeah,
Yeah.
save you from what do you need saving from?
Well, that's the good news.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, sorry, you said good news. Right, right.
Yeah,
I
I
just
was
said that.
segueing into it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. There's nothing to be saved from, and yet there's terrible things that we can fix on the planet while we're here. You know, it's both and. I don't like the word freedom because I used to work with incarcerated teenagers, and freedom really applies to you only if you can't move in the way that you want to be physically moving. So if you can walk out your door without somebody bothering you, you're free. If you don't know that, that's just stupidity.
Oh, I mean, like freedom from the false self.
Freedom to move around. Freedom to actually move around.
That's physical freedom.
Well, that's the only kind.
Do you reckon? There's no mental freedom. There's no mental.
No, there's nothing in it.
I know, Ben. There's nothing in there, but like, you know, there could be loads of crazy thoughts here.
Oh, that's true.
You know.
Wow. No, that's really true. I appreciate that. I don't know what it's like to be you at a mental level. That's true. So I have no idea how to address that, I guess. It's like two different
I'd be
languages.
looking. We'll just say for freedom, right?
Well, I guess I feel like it's a little weirdly preposterous to use that word.
Hypothetically speaking, like, I mean,
Yeah, I just have a perspective that's kind of intimately emotional. When you see people that can't move around, It doesn't matter. I'm just using
Oh,
a
no, it
perspective.
matters. It
Well,
matters.
no, I'm just saying I'm using a perspective
No,
to
you
kind of
talk
paint.
about your perspective about the kids. I want to hear about that. What
No,
you
no, I know.
yeah.
I'm using a perspective to try to paint a picture, but I'm really limited in my information about that picture. So I need to be a little like, you're right. I don't actually know. Freedom is probably not a bad word. I just get a little like, no, don't use that one, because then you're kind of, not every situation is freedom. It feels a little like evil to say it is. It doesn't matter. This is all nonsense. It's all me just being nonsensical.
No, but like someone that's suffering and they're suffering with their thinking and it's killing them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. This
Anyway,
is cool because you really did just help me see, like, I don't actually know how to address other people's worlds. Huh. Well, that was fun. I'll go back to my cave now. Oh, I don't know. If you don't meditate and sit or journal or dance or, like, don't you have to do things to figure out what you're thinking so that you can play with your thoughts in a smarter way? And I don't know. I don't know what other people do.
Mhm.
Maybe if we pinpoint the thought that bothers us, but this ends up feeling like
Okay.
homework.
What about the I thought?
Oh, well, that's the only one there is.
So what do we do about the I thought? I mean,
No, there's no we that can do something about that thought.
what does the I do about the I?
The I thought is the I thought.
So what does it do about it?
This is it.
I knew I was going to get there. Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. So
Well,
what?
I would imagine as you interview more and more people who have a similar linguistic structure in terms of how they, like, you're just gonna have enjoy the jokes the more and more it goes on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's great fun, by the way.
Yeah, I would imagine.
I'm
I'd love to hear about it.
I mean, I feel quite privileged doing this podcast. I mean, during COVID, I thought I was going to do something, but with the title, and I was doing another podcast, and I just morphed into this. I get great joy out of it, but I'm nervous as hell the lead up to it.
I do.
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
but when you're in it, doing it, it's great. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, you don't have to prepare to be who you are.
yeah. And I don't really script it out because it's kind of, yeah, maybe
Yeah.
I should, but, whatever. You do a lot of
Likes
writing, Ben. Ben, you're a creative individual. You write a bit, don't you?
I like to write and I like to read and I like to draw. I drew you a picture, I sent it to you in your email account.
Did you?
Uh, yeah. It's in the emails. And but it's fun. I like cartoons, I like painting. I like Butoh a lot. Butoh is a Japanese form of dance, the
Oh,
dance of darkness. It kind of fits my personality.
yeah.
Um, Skateboarding, I skateboarded today. It was awesome. It was so awesome. But I'm just a guy who's lucky enough to do what he wants.
Are we all lucky enough to do what we want if we really wanted to?
Yes, the last part. If you really want it, yes. But you have to be willing to make concessions along the way for what you own, because it will end up owning you.
Yeah.
So we all have to figure out how to tinker the survival piece with the stuff piece with the larger society piece, and in no way, shape, or form have I succeeded at that. In fact, I failed at it. I mean, I'm 46. I live in my parents' house. It's a wonderful situation, but in the story version on paper, I'm a loser. Like I'm nobody.
Yeah, but
And
that's
that's
like relative to.
yeah. Well, no, but I'm just saying there's cultural truths relative to the culture. So
Would you
yeah,
would you label yourself a failure? I mean, why would
yeah,
why would you do that? I mean,
because there's a moment. Yeah, there's just a moment where I could have made a different choice.
yeah, but
And I remember the feeling of making the choice. Okay, well, I'll just join in this behavior because it was happening around me, and
yeah, but then
it was people.
also you said there's no fixed point in anything, so there's no failure if that's the case, because it totally an erroneous concept that you're a failure then.
Oh, yeah, thanks. No, really, I thought I was failing. I don't actually know because if from one perspective to the other, I can't speak to both.
No,
Right? Like if we're gonna do absolute, we can't do relative. If we're gonna do relative, we can't do absolute. But if
I
we're gonna
know.
do both,
Yeah,
if we do both, it's fine. I don't mind doing both, but it's all just the language.
yeah, I'm just trying to see where it is for you in that place, you know.
Well, I don't know what that means, but
I mean, yeah, I
I
suppose
don't feel bad.
I'm coming from my own place. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
I failed and
yeah,
I failed at stuff, but what does it
yeah.
mean? It means nothing to me. So, you know, I didn't
Oh,
failed. I mean, more or less, there's a drive like the tree to go forward and do what you want to do.
right.
You know,
Yeah, I
um,
do.
and yeah, what next? The sign is what's next. I remember you used to hold the your perfect sign. Have you got the your perfect sign there? No,
I have one in the closet. I don't have it out. It's too big to fit on the. If I stood here, you wouldn't really.
you got some reactions when you were holding that, didn't you?
Yeah, it was amazing. I retired it in that I haven't done it in 3.5 years, and I don't imagine I'll ever do it again, because you have to let things die, especially good things. That you have to let them die, because then that's when you get compost. So it was an incredibly strange and beautiful adventure. From police officers and firefighters and soldiers to gang members to little kids to old ladies, just the good and the bad and the ugly of the world passed right by and gave me exactly what they were in that moment. You know, it was just like plugging right into the whole thing. And I learned so much about people don't matter. They're beautiful, but they're not important. And it's okay. It's okay the way the world is. It's not up to me. I'm not applying to be God's understudy. I'm just here,
Yeah,
a little creature with a little nightmare, and that's okay.
I mean, if love worked, you know, if it if you know people think if we all love one another, um, you know that the world would be a better place. But that's been that's been tried already for ages and ages and ages.
Love,
Changed anything? I don't mean to say there's not that love hasn't got its place, but I'm saying
right?
that it will change the world. Like Eckhart Tolle has like a new earth, the plan for a new
Sure.
world, a new way of living, a new like. I'm sure it's been tried before. It,
Well, never by us.
huh?
It hasn't been tried by us yet.
Do you think so? You be sort of optimistic.
No, I just know factually, data wise, we can't say that anything is yet concluded, including our failures. I don't, like I don't know enough yet to say this is what happened.
When you're talking like that, it just brings me back to this place and it opens up. You know, kind of there's an opening every time. Um,
Yeah. Well, we're both sitting here and we both don't remember this.
yeah,
So there's something elegant about us, subtle, sublime, etc., as creatures, that we can deny ourselves is fascinating. That we exist to say we're not. Woo! uh,
do we take life lightly? We do.
the we ends up being 7.9 plus or minus billion, all in motion at once, going through, etc.
I just asked
So
you instead.
I just don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah, like
Are there general trends of patterns that humans fall into that are detrimental to their functioning? Probably. But can anybody do anything about that besides tinker with their own life?
yeah.
Probably not.
You see, Ben, it's a bit like enlightenment, isn't it? Like, you know, people go looking for enlightenment. The Buddha went looking for enlightenment and he got up from under the tree and just walked off, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like it's the booby prize, right?
I think the Buddha says, I mean, it doesn't matter that it's the Buddha, but the Buddha says, uh, supreme enlightenment, I found supreme enlightenment and it was nothing. And that's how I knew it was supreme enlightenment.
Yeah.
It's like, prior to going on the search, you are the answer.
So the story spins out.
Well, you can't do anything about it. I mean, try to do something that isn't the universe.
Yeah, but the story, what I'm saying is that kid that's in prison, that's what's happening there. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
there is,
Yeah.
you know, and it's hell for him. But at the other end, you got some prince living in Kuwait,
Yes. Yes.
running around in a Ferrari or something, and
Right.
so
So keep going. Now go out to Saturn.
well,
No, really, like go out to Jupiter.
Elon Musk is getting to Mars. He's starting with that.
Yeah, he just wants to build the first cemetery.
Yeah, you see, you're looking at it at a different perspective. I mean, we're all running into the grave, aren't we?
Well, this is the Graves party.
Yeah. And when that's known or seen,
Sure.
the handbrake can come off, can't it? It can be released as such. What happens?
Well, there are no breaks, right? Well, yes. So yes is the answer to your question, and there are no breaks.
Yeah, but that's okay for you to say, someone would say.
I know, but I'm supposed to say it because I have peers.
You know?
I have peers. They're gonna attack me if I don't say it right. You've heard these people. You got to watch out.
They're okay. I like them all. They're cool.
I know, I do too. I love them actually. I've never heard Ariana Reflex. I like saying that as her whole name.
Even
But
the ones, huh?
there's something so delightful about her. And I was really appreciating your interview with her.
Who is that? Sorry.
Oh, Ariana.
Ah, yeah. Delightful.
Yeah, she's just right there. I mean, she's just sitting right there.
Yeah.
But her comment about watching the birds, that's so cool. Because it's like that's a getting outside of my
Would you sit for long, Ben, during the day?
do I sit?
For long? Would you spend many hours
I roll dice every time and I change the time every time.
when you're sitting?
Yeah, so I roll and then it's like 12 minutes. Okay, tomorrow it's 14 minutes. Like I don't want to know the same thing every time.
Okay. Yeah.
And then I just set a timer, right? Stopwatch style. And then I just put it to where I can see it and I just watch the time die.
That's quite fascinating because usually we're running around going, I've only 2 minutes, I've only
Right.
I've only
Right.
5 seconds, you know, like, and you watch it die.
Yeah, just watch everything just disappear second by second.
You're
It's so awesome.
wasting time, Ben.
Are we in time?
But you're wasting time, is what someone.
No. There's no time to waste.
So why are you rolling the dice?
Because I remember myself. And I don't want to.
Wow. That seems like a lot of people would think that too, probably. I don't want to, yeah. It's really, is it hell being in a body?
No, it's hell believing you're in the body.
Well, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The body is heavenly. It's just hell believing you're in it.
Yeah.
What's
that belief? Because you must.
Oh, I think that's a linguistic trick. But I also think because we can hear ourselves talk to ourselves quietly, we think we're inside. But that's the body talking. It's so obvious the body's talking. Because where's the other guy?
Yeah.
Right? Where's the guy that's inside who's supposed to be doing the jaw moving thing? There's no such thing.
Yeah.
So all these bodies are right here at the edge of memory, at the edge of culture, at the edge of story, prehistorical fundamentally. And then there's this amazing story that we tell of what happened. And we don't know. We make that story up right here at the edge of we haven't been here before. We're reverse engineering our own story from the place that we're falling through. Think of the age of the universe. The most recent age is the oldest. Right? 10,000 years ago, the age of the universe was not what it is right now. It's all a story, though. My point being, it's a story. It's a story. It's a story.
Being written.
Yeah, by us, live, collectively, chaotically, like it's one big zine or pamphlet or magazine or poster, even. Like we're just making the craziest poster no one ever sees.
The whole world's a stage.
Yeah. And you are the wood. You got to hold up all those feet.
And there's no choice. I mean, when it comes to choices, there was no choosing for that form to be that way and this form to be this way.
Right. No. I had a beautiful, oh yeah, I think I said it. I got to see Francis Lucille speak in 2007. And this really, to me, it helped. I know I'm not supposed to say somebody helps, but it helped me to hear him say, I asked him, I said, how does choice work there? And he says, oh, I've never made one. And that was my hunch. Like I kind of had the felt sense, like, I'm not making choices. This is weird. And then he said he loved to play tennis. And I said, is it accurate to say then that the universe loves to play tennis in that body? And he was like, yes. And right then I knew I could just skateboard the rest of my life. Right then. Like it was just like, oh, I don't need to do anything other than what I want to do because it's the universe's love that I'm denying when I don't do what I want to do.
Mm.
If it's not terrible. I mean, obviously there's a spectrum, but so I walked out of there like that was the last time I saw anybody. It was so helpful.
And did you have teachers in your life, Ben?
I had one gentleman. He was an ex-heroin addict, one tooth, graduated from the 8th grade. He had an out-of-body experience during a car accident, quit heroin in 2 weeks, and then spent the rest of his life being of service. And I got to work with him for 4 years. He's dead now. And yeah, he taught me that it's okay. He taught me a couple things that are really, I'm still learning. You know, like a good teacher, you never, oh, I'm done. No, it's like, oh, no. This is a lesson that keeps surprising me. And it's really sweet. But he taught me that you have to have a sense of humor or you'll just, you won't even go mad. You'll just become really ugly as a human being. And then he says, you have to make it beautiful. Whatever it is, make it beautiful because then people want to go near it. And then if it's of service, they'll hang on to it and use it. So those three things, we were working in a kitchen. So in that way, we were talking about food, but it really applied to everything. Mm. So he got sick and I took care of him a little bit and I wasn't there when he died. I ended up having left that place where we were working, but I always consider, him, he's the teacher besides some animals that I've encountered, but he's the guy that was that thing for me. And yeah, I love him for having shown up at all. But it was very different. He didn't know he was my teacher, you know, he wasn't there saying, hey, I'm gonna, he was just a human being his immaculate self. So I was the one, and this is how I think it really has to work. I was the one that said, well, that's my teacher then. And then I was the one who watched him. I was the one that paid attention to him. And I was the one that started to move around him in such a way that I was able to meet his needs without him asking me to. You start to pay attention to how someone works and operates. And it's very like lovemaking in that you're really working and flowing around each other. And you can do this with more than one person. You can do this with a team, etc. But it was a very, just lucky. Like I just got lucky that I really wanted one and he showed up and he was right along my ilk, like just kind of came from a stranger world than I. Mhm. He was so awesome. He'd walk into a room of people and he'd say, "Okay, let's count the assholes. One, one." And then he'd leave and you'd never know who it was.
Oh, it's me. You talk.
Uh,
Always talk about.
right. It was like a little Zen joke. It was a really good little Zen stick
That's a
joke.
good one. I like that. What?
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your
His other
favorite?
favorite his other favorite was, "Hey, quit that breathing in and out." Uh, what a gift. But the what he used to look at me and go, "You know what? This is your face." And he was always the most loving, grumpy, it was so beautiful. It was like the hate man. There's a man in Berkeley who called himself the hate man, and he said, "I hate you." And he said it with such fearlessness that it felt like love in a very strange way. And you could walk right up to him and you could be like, you could try it out because he would just sit there and just, "I hate you." And you felt it. Like you were like, "Oh my God, this is awesome. I've been waiting for this my whole life." So Ken was like that, my friend in the end.
Yeah.
He didn't let me rest. But he also said very, very deeply, he said, your relationship to the universe is absolutely private. Because I would try to talk philosophy or I'd try to share what I was experiencing, and he just would shut that down so fast in such a great way, like so helpful. Like, "Oh, yeah, it's not about me and my experiences. Awesome."
Yeah, you did a lot of that in 2008. Yeah,
A lot of sharing my experiences.
yeah, kind of.
Well, I made a lot of videos for like 6 years. And then
Yeah.
I wandered around and did meetings and stuff. So those were all wonderful. I really enjoyed my adventures. I just hit a point where I didn't want to cause more damage,
More
you
damage.
know?
In what
Well,
kind
I don't know how to say it. It's a terrifying thing to realize that everything you think isn't there. And I needed to explore the terror for myself and stop pretending I could talk to people about something I hadn't gone through in terms of the terror. And then I went through terror, and that was really helpful because it calmed me down. And that was 2.5 years ago. I was in the desert and I was sitting under the stars, and I was just like overwhelmed with terror, 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 terror. Like, I'm gonna die, terror. I'm gonna die, terror. And then I threw up, just spontaneously threw up, just right into the fucking sand. And then all the terror was gone. And I don't assume it's gone forever. I don't assume, but the sort of lived sense of terror was gone, and I felt really great. And I haven't felt it since like that, which is not to say I couldn't.
So you went through uh, some sort of torture, really? Was it some sort of purification, maybe?
I end up thinking like it's the endocrine system, and if we get out of the way, the damn thing knows what to do, like perfectly knows what to do. But we have to be, for me personally, and this is not me recommending anything to anyone. This is just me talking about my experience. I had to be willing to have seizures.
Oh,
So I had to be willing to let the electrical storm slash system change. And that is a very interesting physiological experience because it's not all at once. For me, it's not all at once. And there's no way to describe it. And it's scary because you can't ask anybody about it. I went to a doctor at first when I started having this traveling sensation that was pain, but also something else. And I went to a doctor and they did a tube down the throat and they looked all around. They said, "Oh, there's nothing." And that was when I was like, okay, well, I'll just trust whatever this is then, because they're not finding any evidence, so to speak. So, but I've had, I mean, I've been, I've, yeah, I've had seizures. So I don't know if that has anything to do with anything either.
Mm.
Does that make sense? That's what I mean. Like, this is just me talking about my experience. It's not me saying this is a natural part of your process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, that's a big danger. The idea there's a teacher of reality.
So nobody can teach this. I mean, I remember someone saying to me once, you can't teach what can't be known, you know?
Right. Well, can you teach puberty?
No,
Can you prepare someone for it?
no.
Can you tell them a little bit about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about like this. And it's the same kind of physiological thing. It's puberty, but it's like cultural puberty.
But people can get pointers like you got Zen pointers,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I agree. I think there is a skillful way to proceed that isn't just the radical denial of things. I think people can do things. I mean, I'm a taboo in this way in the non-dual community, but I think you can do stuff if you're willing to be the only one. I think you can find things out, but you have to be really, really brave in terms of going through experiences with no guide rails, which is already what this is,
Yeah.
right? Like, we're blind and we don't have a cane. Uh,
So who can help who? I mean,
right. But the here, the way I think of it is we're all in a river and we're all in inner tubes with our feet up, getting sunburned, and there's a waterfall and everyone goes over. But there's a way to make the inner tubing experience a little bit more comfortable. Doesn't have to be hell, even though we're trying to make hell comfortable. So I think there is a way to help each other not wake up, but relax and be comfortable enough to let the terror happen. And the physiological thing, like, you have to be willing to go through things that you're going to make you run to the doctor. And you should run to the doctors. I mean, I'm not an expert on anything to talk about this, but if you get sensations that you don't understand, well, maybe go to the doctor.
absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But if they don't find anything, maybe be brave enough to see what else happens. I don't know. I don't like talking about this because I can't be a standard experience for anybody. And so I'm not a medical expert in any way, shape, or form.
It's a bit like, you're unique and so is everybody else.
Absolutely. Yeah. Not special, totally unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are, because everybody's got different fingerprints. I mean,
Yeah.
even twins are some way different.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that no one shares your point of view at the moment.
Isn't that wonderful though? I mean, who wants
Yes.
to
I,
work?
I think it's heaven.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
well, it could be hell.
Yeah. Well, hell is private.
It could be, well, yeah.
Here, you go through hell, I'll go with you. I may- uh,
This heaven and hell thing is quite trippy, actually.
sure. Well, it's optimism, pessimism. It's good, bad. It's all these dualities. It's not really here.
No.
It's just a way to say I like it, I don't like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then between I like it and I don't like it, it's neutral, you don't care really.
What's next for you, Ben? Books,
Catching
stadium,
this.
stadiums.
Yeah, right. No, 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 no. I'm hoping that people actually hear me enough to not try to add me to their collection. Right? Like, no, I mean, I'm happy to be available as a mouthpiece of an experience. Maybe it's useful, maybe not. Probably not, but nonetheless, I can't, yeah, I'm not available as something you can add to the collection and I don't run a business doing anything. I don't take money at all anymore. I have enough money, so I don't touch it. So I'm happy to just freely be here to chat with whoever, but I don't know. I'm gonna do Advaitaholics Anonymous podcast in March, and that's gonna be awesome because he's a different mind altogether, and I appreciate him. He and I have talked once before. And then I'm gonna do the Philosopher and the Monk, which are these guys James and RJ,
That
and
sounds.
they're back east, and that is gonna that's all in the next 3 weeks or something. So those are the only. I mean, I look forward to these conversations because, as I was explaining it to Shiv, like I practice these conversations in a drama therapy, playful like way to learn what else I can think and say for hours before we have them. Like you talk about getting nervous before them. I've been talking to you for like 40 hours.
Serious.
Yeah. So now I get to talk to two other people that are imagined in my head for the next 3 weeks. And then and it's so fun because I don't know what I'm going to say. And I'm just go off on these walks and I just talk to myself. And I enjoy the idea of having a conversation with the ghost of you, which is what it's been up until right now. And
Yeah,
now you're here and it's like the same ghost. And that feels really great.
it's quite normal. I don't know what it's like.
Yeah.
Trying to describe life. I mean, how can you, like,
Right.
from a body's perspective, for memory you can, but
Well, you can describe sensations if you had to.
you get tired of that, don't you?
Not for $1 million.
Yeah.
Right. Like the proper motivation, you can do anything.
Yeah. Motivation. So, do you think motivation is quite important?
Is quite what?
Important. Is that important?
Um, I like it. I don't know if it's important, but I like the idea that I can know why I'm doing what I'm doing. I can know what I'm up to, right? Like you know what you're up to.
Mm,
You know your bigger vision for what you're doing. No one else has that vision, but you have a little blueprint for your life. So do I.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
if it means I'm going to walk the dog later or go skating or whatever, get ice cream. I still have this little blueprint for where I'm going. I don't know if I get there, but it's totally a map of some sort, and it's like we each have one of those and we know what we're up to. We know what our internal reason for doing things is.
Yeah.
We do. Most of it's survival and money, and that's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just the idea of comfort outside of ourselves. So then comfort within, and then the whole thing goes back to the inner tube. If you're comfortable in, even though there's nothing in, and you're comfortable out, even though there's nothing out, well, then you're chilling in that inner tube, enjoying the ride. You
I think
can't fuck it up. I mean, I just have to say, like, you can't make a mistake. It's impossible.
so. You can't get life wrong, like,
Well, you won't be remembered at all, even by yourself.
See, it gets back to, like, life is coming, isn't it? You know.
Yeah. Life is this word we try to use to talk about something we really don't know because we are it.
Yeah, and we get neurotic about the future, apparently.
Sure. Well, the future is the most interesting place I've ever heard of. We're gonna die there.
Well,
Being playful. I'm just kidding.
you're outside the inner tube, you're outside the tube, and you're kind of in a better place than everybody else is. You know.
Oh, I don't know that. I don't know how that is, but I can. I can only. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the good comparisons like that really matter or can be made. Because you could imagine someone somewhere who wants your life, just the one you have right now. They're in a situation where if they heard about your situation, they would be like, "Oh my God, can I have that?" So I think that's true in a certain way, except for real big fringes on both sides. I think humanity itself is kind of like really interchangeable. If we heard about a life we've never even known could be possible, like that's the juice and the joy of novelty. Is a new life, a new what? You're an option? Holy shit! Look, you're an option. Like that's the beauty of traveling. It's the beauty of staying open. It's the beauty of education and just exploring and reading new things and doing new things and staying inside of the like, I don't know what's here. Why am I pretending I'm going to conclude all this? It concludes for me, like,
Potentiality, isn't it?
yeah.
Like constant potentiality.
Well, yeah. And you think of it in terms of
Active.
generational. Sorry, what was the last part?
The potentiality is it's not like historic. It's like or
Right.
futuristic kind of a view. It's like a happening of potentiality.
Yeah, it includes my ability to tell you about what I did yesterday. That's part of the potentiality, but that's not a visual event.
Yeah, it's quite fascinating. Yeah.
It's beautiful. The nervous system is already awake, and all we have to do is get really close to it, and we're right on top of it, and then we're it. And that's always been the case. So there's no way you can fuck it up. You just have to be really disinterested in other people and how they're functioning. How are you functioning? And then that's the whole homework that isn't homework because it ends up being an art project for an audience of no one. Oh, bummer. We're not going to remember we did this. Oh, doesn't it feel like that's a crime?
Yeah.
All this amazing beauty for nothing, but also all the suffering for nothing, and that's useful.
But at the end of the day, it all goes in the bin, doesn't it?
Yep. One big bonfire.
One.
Boom. But really, at the end of the day, I think I go to sleep. I don't know yet.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
No, 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 no. Because that's the idea. There's something in the body.
Mm-hmm.
So there's nothing in the body. Elan Vital was disproven, I think, in like the 19th century, and it's one of the harder ideas to get rid of because we really feel like there's an energy in things, but that biology's known that that's not true for 100 years at least. So we're just slow, humanity, but we're getting there. We're taking our time. There's no rush.
There's no rush, like for you. I mean, you're trying to waste.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It's an unfair statement in that way.
What's next for you, Ben? Just your blueprint of the future, that little map. What is it when it comes to spirituality as such? We're just going to
Oh, I
wrap.
don't. I just have those 2 podcasts I'm going to do. I think if I live, and then that's it. And then I'm not going to say anything for a little while and see what happens.
Yeah.
I'll probably get a couple emails for a little while, and I mean, I don't know. I actually don't know.
Yeah.
So I don't have an idea. I kind of hope the same thing for all of us, that we just sort of I look forward to the unknown. I look forward to the unknown. Yeah, okay. All right. But it's not any more complicated than going downstairs to get a soda and saying hi to mom and playing some Scrabble, and like my life it's really simple. It's just the neighborhood, and you have a neighborhood, etc.
Yeah. Simple.
So it's simple. Someone asked Gary Snyder once, they said, "How famous do you want to be?" And he said, 5 miles. Like, that's the best answer I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I want my neighbors to know me so they can come and say, "Hey, how's it going?" And we do. It's a lot. There's 200,000 people, so you don't have as much of a small feeling. I used to live in a small place, and that's really different. But 200,000 is beautiful. You start seeing people on your walks, and everybody sees everybody doing their thing. Hmm. What's next for you?
No idea. Well, I got the
Yeah,
blueprint like you. I have some plans, some big plans, some small plans.
yeah,
They're just plans. I mean, I don't project into them. They can be adjusted and
yeah.
it's fine. I'm okay with adjustments.
Cool.
But if I have a really important idea or plan, you got to really try and make that blueprint work, which is quite fascinating too. There's a challenge in that, which I really like it.
Yep.
It's like, can I make this blueprint stay like a blueprint?
Yeah.
It's like, no. It's like, yeah. you know.
Right. Right. Well, I'm drawing it as I go.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's the fun part. It's like I got the eraser and I got the pencil, and it's like, okay, let's see here. Oh yeah, this.
Yeah, it's like,
Oh
that.
no, not this. Okay, this. Oh, not that. Okay, this.
Comes along and goes, you can't do that. They rub it out. It's like,
Right.
okay, we'll draw around it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Never give up until you actually know you have to.
yeah. On that note, Ben,
Yeah.
we'll It's been great talking to you. It's good to see you, and
Yeah.
you're well and enjoying life.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be able to talk about the strangeness of all of it. And I appreciate your time and your work. You're sharing with all this beautiful people just talking about life, and it's really fun. So thank you very much. I've had a nice time hanging out with you these last couple of days.
Same here as well. And
Yeah.
hopefully we'll have you on the show again.
Sure. Yeah.
On that
Whatever
big-
works.
Put it on the blueprint. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yes. Well, I'm open. I'm happy to be on anytime.
Ben, thanks very much. Take care, bud.
You too.